Welcome back to the Tailosive EV podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I am joined with Model 3 Randy and Cybertruck Nick and Aptera Drew.
I like it.
That's about the state of the events these days.
Pretty much.
Hey, before we get started, I got a vehicle question for you guys. How long until you guys
electric, hopefully.
and maybe this isn't applicable to some of you guys for the age of the vehicle, but how long until you get the title of your car?
I bought mine used, so I bought the title.
I bought mine used as well. Title. It came with it, yeah.
Well, and then you have to go to the DMV and get like a new title in your name, but that comes within like a few weeks. Like it's just in the mail.
None of that has happened for me yet with my Model 3 all this time. I'm like,
you stole it, didn't you?
You did. That's how he got it. He turned off Sentry mode and everything. He stole it from Tesla.
That's not your car. You should have gotten a title, or had to take it to the DMV or something.
Neither. I think. The only thing I ever got notified was from my bank saying, "Congratulations for the loan being." That was the only thing I ever got, and that was pretty quick. And I'm like, all right, where's my documentations about transferring the title? And that never happened. So I'm just thinking about it. Because like Model 3 Randy's like, well, technically not yet, still.
Yeah, we are the absolute worst people to ask for that question. Yeah. So
all right, well then that's a question for Model Y. I said Model My Wyke, and anybody else who's watching.
Model My Wyke.
Model My.
I've literally never taken out a loan, so I have no idea what you mean.
All right.
I have. I can't say the same. But I don't have any loans.
Did you guys get your house title quickly after you, or how did that work?
No, everything is so. No, nothing is quick. And so I'm like, is it a pandemic thing?
I don't know if we ever got it. Wait.
Drew, did you get your
We
title?
have a big. I think so.
See?
Oh,
it's weird.
I think we got the title. It's the deed that I'm not sure we got. I think the county offices have been closed or something because I don't know. But we own the house. I know that. we got all these papers when we paid off the mortgage, and they're like, "This is yours now," and here you go. And we were like, "Cool, okay, got it." But I don't know if the title is the right term.
Yeah, maybe. No. I think it's a deed for real property. I don't know.
For real property.
The deed or whatever.
As opposed to something the fake property that they sell you.
Yeah.
Isn't the deed for the land, though? That's a whole... Never mind. This is not EV. Carry on. Hi, guys. Good morning.
The land, which could one day hopefully house a Tesla semi.
Boom! Now it's relevant. Let's talk about the land. I'm just kidding.
I love the idea of seeing this giant Tesla semi with the sleeper cab hauling all this equipment.
Yeah.
And being like, this makes less emissions than that smart car.
Like, it's not weird.
Little gas-powered smart car right there. It's like, yep, that's worse than the semi.
That's so weird.
Yeah, you can get into the manufacturing differences and all that, but still, the amount of energy Tesla generates through the solar division, it's not fair. But I'm in love with the semi still. Nothing has changed.
Is that the car? Is that your first Tesla you're going to buy as a semi? A $250,000
It's
semi?
my dream. Put the reservation down right there in 2017. How do you guys feel? Did you see the updated design?
I did.
Yes.
With the new windows. Oh, it looks beautiful.
It looks nice.
And the door handle.
If I had infinite money, I would first get the Cybertruck because Cybertruck. But then after that, I would get the semi and get a trailer and customize the trailer to be a tiny home on wheels with a Cybertruck garage in the back. And then I'd pull around
and Tesla Solar.
And Tesla Solar all around. And then I'd pull into Twin Pine Malls at like 1:20 a.m. every night. And then I'd fill up the garage with dry ice smoke. And then I'd have some kid stand outside with a video camera and just very slowly open the back of my Tesla semi and drive out the Cybertruck and then, go into the future.
What's going on? What's going on?
We're talking about Nick's dreams, okay? They're kind of weird. I get it. Okay, I know no one else likes this.
Dream big, buddy. Dream big.
Have you guys seen the rumors about them ramping the production of the semi later this year?
Yes. I
have not.
All for that. Being the one person on this podcast who has seen, touched, smelled, and licked a Tesla semi in person, I can say that I'm all for
I
this.
I did that all to your dream vehicle, Nick. How does that make you feel?
You didn't lick it, though.
Yes, I did. Oh, well.
You didn't lick
I
it.
licked my hand afterwards, and then and this was already after
That's
the
important.
Rona.
That's crucial.
So I was like, yep, I'm infected now.
I'm infected. That's it.
No,
I really, really hope the rumors are true. They could be fake. They could be made up or too much wishful thinking. But with the total projections that Sawyer Merritt, I think his name is putting out, they're saying like over a couple thousand by the end of this year.
Yeah.
Oh,
I cannot.
I was excited for one. I was pumped for the idea of one semi truck coming out and being used like regular, not like a prototype or a beta unit, but like an actual like business bought one, received one, and is now driving it around. But the idea of thousands of them.
How are we on the mega charging network? Because those semis won't charge with the regular.
No,
they have some
won't.
jerry-wanked way to do it with the current beta models, but
I think Tesla owners would still be upset if semi trucks came to superchargers and were just like, "Oh, don't mind me."
Take up 8 stalls as I pull through.
Yeah, cover the whole thing. Yes, I don't think they'd be happy. So, I think whether or not they announce something with mega chargers or mega chargers start going in the next few months will validify whether or not these rumors are correct. Because they gotta act on that soon if that is true.
Agreed.
But the difference with mega chargers is you can be a lot more precise about where they go instead of superchargers, which Tesla's kind of like, put them up, near populated areas. But with mega chargers, you can specifically figure out everyone who's ordered a semi, where are those routes for the semi trucks, and find exactly where the most convenient spot is and design them to be pull through and everything. So I feel like Tesla opened up like 5 or like 8 superchargers in one day in China, I believe, and they just activated a new factory in China just for superchargers.
Wow.
That's over in China. So they have a whole facility now just designated for that equipment, which should free up some flexibility for the supercharger factories in America who have to provide for everybody else. So the truth is, I know, like, right now, we're like, I don't see any mega chargers. Come on, like, where are the mega chargers? But the truth is, they could probably set up a bunch very quickly if they needed to.
It's all about the real estate
I think it could be
too,
done.
Though. Like, they're very much constrained on that regard.
I think they could do it in like a month. They could probably set up like 10. They just all at the same time. They're just like, okay, boom, mega chargers. We got to put them up. And within like a few weeks, they're not incredibly. I mean, the permits and stuff are always complicated, but the equipment-wise, putting them in, I mean, it's 1,000 times easier than a battery swapping station or a gas station because you don't have to put giant fuel tanks in the ground or load it full of batteries. But it's really just all a supercharger is a very intricate adapter when you think about it. It's tapping into the grid and charging your car. It's just with a bunch of extra apparatus.
Do you think like a truck stop, like I'm thinking like these truck stops are already set up like geographically as far as like convenient locations and also having the space, because like in a city or an urban area, semi trucks are just really hard to deal with for the driver and for people creating infrastructure for them because they're just so big. Like you see truck stops in the middle of nowhere, Kansas, and they're like acres and acres and acres of like just trucks all lined up and parked with the bathroom and convenience store in the middle. Do you think those truck stops will start? Like there has to be a chain of truck stops. I don't remember what the name of the chain is, but I think it starts with a J or something. There's a J in the logo. But I wonder if a big truck stops. I don't know what it is, but it's a truck stop brand. I wonder if there's a truck stop brand who would partner with Tesla and allow them to use their real estate for these mega chargers, because that seems to be the best path for a gas station owner to certify their availability to continue doing business as we transition away from fossil fuels. because really at the end of the day, what gas stations have, their fundamental asset is the property, the convenient location to population centers. And, a little bit of the store, the convenience store type, and the gas pumps as well and stuff. But if they could add, take 4 or 5 of the truck stops in the back that they're not currently using and turn those into mega charging, overnight kind of places where a truck driver could park.
Little lightning bolt icon.
Exactly. Yeah. And, Tesla would pay for all the...
There's already some gas stations with superchargers right next to them.
I believe Come and Go is a pretty big proponent of doing that model. But I think that's the smartest model because that provides... It's like a symbiotic relationship. Tesla gets the real estate for free or reduced cost, and the gas station gets to have this infrastructure for free because Tesla's paying for it, and also increased customers and knowledge that they can continue working as society transitions. So,
plus the companies that own the semi trucks don't have to change their routes because they know when you get low on fuel or whatever, you can stop at the same places. And the other thing to keep in mind with mega chargers is you might not need to put them in super populated areas because it will hopefully soon have more updated range numbers for the semi. And one of the beauties of an electric Class 8 truck is that these things are typically parked by a large warehouse with electricity for extended period of time when they're getting loaded up and when they're getting unloaded. Or sometimes when they're just done using them and they're parked. And that you can charge them from those locations, which you couldn't really do with diesel semi-trucks. Most warehouses don't have giant tanks of diesel waiting for all their semi-trucks whenever they unload. So it might not be as quick, but you can trickle charge. That's why I've talked about Tesla needs, they probably are working on it, but something equivalent to the wall charger that we have for garages, except for the semi-truck. Warehouses typically have higher voltage electrical systems that they can tap into, and they might charge they might not own the semi-truck themselves, so they could charge you for that or something. But just the simple fact of being able to charge whenever you're parked is a big benefit. So,
and even not even just at the warehouse, but at say it's a stored truck delivering groceries to a grocery store. Like there's a couple hours while it's sitting at the back of the grocery store that it could be topping off as well.
Exactly.
And truck drivers in the city, like those Target, Kroger type drivers who are just taking stuff from the distribution place to the inner populated areas. When they need to go tank up, they don't pull into your local neighborhood gas station and fill up. Like they're too big, and so they have to go out to the truck stop area in the industrial part of any city where their warehouse is and fill up there. And so it's not it would be even more convenient because that's still time out of their day. They still have to go fill up with gas at the beginning or end of their shift or a couple times during the shift, depending on how much they're driving.
No, it's pretty difficult for a lot of semi trucks to start the day off at 100%.
Exactly, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Because your range isn't super high from wherever you're leaving. It's from the pump. It's always going to be from the pump. And whenever there's not a pump, then you're starting off with whatever was left over from yesterday. I mean, even I run into the annoying issue of going out, we haven't driven in a week, and then we go out to the car and there's barely any gas left. And I'm like, this would not be a thing with an electric car. You would start every day with the same range close to it. So I don't know why I'm so obsessed with the semi-truck, but I think about it a lot. And I think about seeing them. And whenever I am driving and I hear a really, really loud semi-truck go by next to me, I'm always like, I can't wait for a dead, quiet, but enormous truck that's just going to go by you and not make any noise other than just a little...
The interior of the semi is just so futuristic. The 2 Model 3 displays in the centered...
The one thing I wish they would change about the semi interior is it needs a yoke.
Yes, I would agree with that. I need to feel.
I said that. I need
to feel like I'm even more in a fighter jet.
Semi yoke. I'm kidding.
Because if there's one thing semi-truck drivers love to do is backing up, and having this itsy bitsy little yoke will really help them out.
I agree. But on the subject of the yoke, let's talk about the yoke a little bit more today.
Come on.
So this is not a trick question. I'm just trying to remember correctly. Randy, How do you activate the voice command in your Tesla?
You hold it down, the button.
The little
you
scroll
say Jarvis,
wheel
Yeah.
and then you just say whatever you want.
thing? So you hold that thing down.
Yeah.
Now, on the new Model S and X steering wheel, they have a bunch of little touch buttons to interact with. The one on the furthest right is a microphone.
Mm-hmm.
So it means there's a new user input action ability for holding down that scroll wheel. If that's not activating the mic anymore, perhaps that could, I don't know, put it in reverse. Thanks, Mike. He helped us out on that one.
I kind of missed it. I don't
That's
understand
what
you're talking about, Drew. I'm sorry.
Remember when we were getting all up and about it last week about going in reverse and you need an override of some kind? There's your override. You hold down the scroll ball.
Interesting.
So instead of just pushing down on the lever in the back, you just hold that because you don't need the microphone ability anymore because there's a button for it.
Maybe that's a customizable button.
And Mike reached out to me about that
button, Randy, and then you can have your hold back.
Or hold. There you go. This Mike single-handedly fixed all of our complaints.
There's a reason why.
There's
a reason why we like him.
Lack of gear stock. So shout out to Mike on that one. Thank you.
It's kind of hard to shout out Mike when he's the only one listening to these shows. So
shout out to
I'm
the
letting
viewer.
him know. It would be mean of me to just say that in the podcast like I came up with it. But he listened to last week's and was just like, hey, what about this? And I was like, I didn't think of that. That's probably a great alternative because we were talking about if the software crashes on the screen or you don't want the auto detecting reverse or forward or whatever. So that's your override. You just hold that down.
All right.
If that's the case with the Cybertruck, are you okay with no gear stocks?
yes.
I know Nick is.
I just gotta get my answer
on
before
Randy's.
Randy talks because yes.
Yeah, we got that.
Yeah, as long as there's a physical. Yeah.
That justifies.
So what you're telling me is you need something physical.
Mm-hmm.
I
the
need,
backup.
I need to know, much like we were talking about with the touch bar, I need to know that the input was put in. I know that display will also show it, but like it just, I feel more comfortable knowing it happened. And then like, oh, here we go. I don't know. Yeah, I would feel better. I like the idea of freeing up one of the buttons, and that's especially because the gear is on the right side of the steering wheel anyway, so using the right button isn't that much of a change. Yeah.
No, not really.
I would like to use
It's
the
right
right
there.
one. And then the left one does the windshield fluid or whatever. You hold it down or you push down. What if...
There's a windshield wiper button on the steering wheel, though.
What if you push down on the ball and that's like pushing the stock and that puts it in park?
Oh, that puts it in park? Oh, that could work.
And like scrolling up is driving forward, scrolling back is putting in reverse, and
that might do other things.
You're accidentally trying to play music and you start going reverse on the freeway. You're like, change the song.
No, because
I think after a certain speed, it shouldn't
volume
work.
is always on the left. Volume is always on the left side. Right side of the ball is adjusting speed. So if you're already in autopilot and you're going like that, you're going faster or you're slowing down anyway. But at a stop, forward is drive, back is reverse, push is park, neutral's neutral.
They've got this all figured out. I don't know because I haven't seen one or played with one yet, but I think there's going to be an answer for everything. I think they've got this. The real question is, will they keep the same autopilot logo with the steering wheel, or will they change the icon?
You are asking the real
to be a
questions,
yoke.
Drew. I like this. Oh man.
I was on your stream yesterday. I know the right questions to ask.
I think it'll be dependent on whatever vehicle you have. If you have a regular steering wheel, you'll have just like they customize the car that's on the display.
Yeah.
It'll be tailored to your vehicle. So if you have a yoke, it'll be a yoke.
It's looking likely to be Yeah, it's looking likely to be legal. The Netherlands just confirmed it, and so did the United Kingdom. And if the United Kingdom is saying that is legal, I have a hard time imagining a reality where the UK decides something's okay, but the US decides it's not. I feel like that doesn't happen a lot in the automotive world.
Except for driving on the correct side of the road. I mean, I guess all you UKers do it wrong, but that's okay.
Do you know why they drive on the left side?
Of horses and buggies and something.
Horses and I don't know about buggies, but the horses
what
thing
when
they were used to do the
jousting
and they stab at you. Jousting. That's
it.
That's what I was told by Brit.
That sounds made up.
That's what Brit told me. They're like, oh, it's on the left side because when we used to joust for the king.
But like jousting is done in like tournament style. So they were like, we're going to do this on every form of road that we put in as well.
Same reason why people don't want to adopt to USB-C and they want to stick with USB-A. They're just used to what they have.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I guess so. Huh.
Except for Teslas. Teslas will bring USB-C and put you on the right side of the road. Can you imagine? You have to still be on the left side of the car and you're driving on the left side of the road, so your peripherals are all off. When I drove in Japan and I was on the left side of the road because I had to get another license for it, and there were times when I was on the left side of the vehicle, it was weird. But when I was on the right side of the vehicle and I was driving a manual transmission, shifting the gears, it hurt.
It would make
really
my
hurt.
dyslexia hurt.
Everything was backwards. Dude,
I've never driven in another country before. It sounds scary.
Well, luckily in North America, whether you go to Canada or Mexico, it's on the right side. So thank God for that. Well, at least on British Columbia. I don't know about like Montreal. I don't know what.
Philippines was also on the right side.
Turkey and Greece.
But there was no traffic law.
Guam is on the right side. Hawaii is on the right side. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm thinking all the places I've driven, but Japan, left side, and I was on the right, and I'm sitting on the right side of the vehicle, and I had to shift with my left hand. That's hard. I'm like, all right, where's an EV? I need an EV for this.
It's always funny to me to see the right-hand drive Model 3s and Ys, because you realize like how easy it is. Maybe it's way more hard than I think, but in manufacturing at least, it looks so simple because the screen is literally in the same place, and they just changed the software to be on the right, and the steering wheel is over there.
Just a little?
Model S,
not the 3.
Yeah, Model S is tilted a little bit.
No, they say on the new design, on the S and X it's tilted, but I was talking on the 3 and Y because the screen's just centered 15 inches. And they just basically got to put the steering wheel over there.
All they have to do when they're making a European vehicle, they make them just like we do in the U.S. Mm-hmm. They just have to use a mirror while they're making it, and then it's all correct. They have all the workers looking at a mirror of them making it, and it just exactly the other way.
They're like, here's the blueprint.
Hold it up to a mirror
for the U.S. Model 3. Here's the blueprints for the. Everything's just exactly backwards. I just like knowing that in the software they're just like, move it over here, done. But the new Model S and X on the website say that there's some kind of left and right tilt feature, and I have no clue how that works because the interior looks like it's embedded into the dash, but they still say it tilts either way, which I don't understand. I need to see one.
I also need to see one.
You know, maybe the way. Yeah, I need to see one too. We should do a test drive.
I would agree with that. Elon,
I would love that.
Hit us up.
I have always found the performance numbers on these things are insanity to me because I've been in your Model 3 dual motor and I've been in Mike's Model Y dual motor and done the 0 to 60s, and that feels about twice as fast as I would ever feel comfortable going driving a car. I've just never been into performance. I don't like roller coasters either. I've never liked going super fast in a quick amount of time. And both of those were, I think, over 4 seconds in 0 to 60. And these new powertrains are doing like 2 or under 2. And then there's the Roadster. And I'm just like, I feel like I would instantly either
throw up,
involuntarily crap my pants and throw up simultaneously, because I've been in both of your guys' cars, and in the grand scheme of Tesla, those are not really that fast.
Yeah.
Compared to Ludacris or Plaid, and yet whenever I'm in your guys', I'm like,
it's a flex and nothing more. Because I only do it when I'm showing off, and
yeah,
I don't do it. There's maybe only 1 or 2 times without showing off, or unironically I would have done it, and that was because I was trying to get ahead. Like the on ramp, my biggest pet peeve is people driving so slow trying to get onto the freeway. Like you need to catch like that ramp is for you to pick up momentum. And there have been times where I see cars moving pretty quick, and I realize like, oh, I'm going too slow, and then I will book it. But most of the time, my acceleration's in smooth, like it's chilled. It's not standard. So it still takes a minute, but it's still, well, technically it takes seconds, but I'm not going like
my car takes a minute.
Yeah, yours takes a minute. I have used it just to like get ahead of something really quickly, but when you're actually like doing it on the freeway, me personally, I get nervous. And I think part of it is because of the accident happening so early on of me having the Tesla. Like I don't like being on the road with other cars. I don't like them. Like, ew. I just don't. But the thing is, I've never trust California drivers at all. And it is a very California situation where I felt like I needed to drive that fast to just be up to speed with traffic. And I feel like in any other situation outside of big metropolitan California, I would not have had this issue. So acceleration 0 to 4, 0 to 3, 0 to 2 is nothing more than just a flex. It's a fun flex. Don't get me wrong. Have fun. It's your toy in that sense. Just be safe about it. But yeah, showing you how quick I can go, and then I break 60, and I go 70 and 80, and then I get to 90 so quick, like, boo, and then I let go. That cost me 2%. So I hope it was worth it. I don't like doing it.
Yeah.
I like doing it in the sense that like, I like the feeling of it, because I like roller coasters and I like the adrenaline, where it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. But when you're driving and you're doing it, it doesn't feel the same. It doesn't feel the same when you're the one driving and commanding that speed, because you're anticipating it. Anybody in the passenger seat or back seat, it's a different feeling for them.
Out of
the
control.
driver, out of control. You just can't.
It's fun though.
But I love it. I do love it. Don't get me wrong. Actually, you guys remember years ago when I made a video and I got a lot of hate about talking about how I'm not going to use the acceleration boost? It's kind of a waste of $2,000. I do.
Yep.
About almost 2 years later, I've been thinking about it. Maybe I should get it. Okay, why? I'm over here
so people like you.
No. I'm over
Peer
here.
pressure.
I'm over here like
peer pressure.
Am I just buying things because I'm bored?
Yes.
We do that. Am I just eating because I'm bored? Like I feel like
humans do that.
This is true. And I sit there and I go, man, I like my car. And it's going to start to eventually feel more and more dated. How can I make it feel more new? Acceleration boost, $2,000. Good use of money.
They should give you a free trial where you can do one launch and then it turns off. But
2 launches just to make sure the first one wasn't a fluke.
4 launches because I need to have my friends.
Because my thought process is if I bought it, I would accelerate and then immediately afterward be like, wow, that wasn't worth it. And you can't get that money back.
Yeah.
That would be my concern.
I would rather put the $2,000 towards like better, like if it's like, oh, this is gonna help because it's obviously a software feature, right? So it's locked. I would rather
cost
put that
them nothing.
Yeah, I would put $2,000 towards like unlocking a better UI.
I'd be shocked if they ever made that a thing.
No, I know. I'm just. That's a poor use of money. But my point is that I would rather put it towards maybe anything else than acceleration boost.
Would you rather put it towards a liftgate?
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah.
Maybe
Liftgate?
they'll offer that at some point.
Trunk
auto opening.
I thought you meant like antenna gates, water gates, lift gate. I was like, wait a minute, is there a problem? I understand now.
No, that's what it's called. It's called a powered lift gate. That's the expression for a car that
trunk,
can open and close the back.
It's not a gate on the back of your car.
That's
I don't
not
understand
what
what's going on here.
Yeah, I would put it towards that.
Gate.
If I could, honestly, any amount of money putting into the car would just go to the trunk, and if I can swap out USB-A to USB-C, I like my design of the center console. Center console design I prefer that more than the new one.
Everyone who has the old one has told me that.
There's something I like closing the lid, and it just feels clean and minimal, and I like the accessibility of being able to move all this stuff around, and I can get to all this hidden compartment easier. I appreciate the new design. I don't mind it, but I like mine more, and I think it's because I like the idea of being able to close the things, and just I don't like people window peeping like, oh, what you got in there? I always close it.
That car, they're always going to be looking at.
That's true. Like, I know. So if I could deter it in any way, shape, or form, I would. But more than that, I would just like to swap out to
Randy's
USB-C.
concerned when people look at his dual motor Model 3 that they might see he uses an iPhone 12 mini, which is private personal information. He doesn't want that out there.
My concern
people can know about the car, but
they come by and look at this wrapped Model 3 dual motor. Look at that. Is that a Nomad wireless charging?
I just like your reasoning of like, I don't want people being able to. What if they look in there and see that I have an iPhone 12? Then they'll think I'm rich. They look inside. Oh, wait. This Model 3 owner has an iPhone 7. He's not rich.
Wait. They look at it, it's like, I've seen one person. He put in my phone. He had an Asus smartphone, the gaming phone.
Yeah.
Oh, the ROG phone. Yeah.
And he was like, and I told him, I was like, is that wireless charging? He goes, I think so. It's custom. I'm like, oh, you could charge it on my car. The thing. Okay. He took out the case. He went to go. It's so big, it wasn't gonna fit. He goes, huh? And I'm like, yeah, mine's so small it doesn't fit, but that's because I'm not overcompensating for anything. So,
Randy.
Yeah.
That's funny that you had opposite issues. They should just widen the size of that charge mat for everything.
I would honestly
put a MagSafe in there.
If I could.
Can you imagine?
That would be so
cool. That way,
cool.
if it's on the 12 mini, it wouldn't sit flat. It would just hold up a little bit, and it would still charge Androids if you want to put an Android there. So
sure.
Come on, Tesla. You listened to me on the USB-C thing, so that's my next big request. I want MagSafe because it will work with Android and iOS, but it will work with iOS just that much more.
Yeah. Another collaboration. In order of what
and
I'm
on
going
to... on the Tesla Model S interior pictures, they have two iPhones in the website, and they have iOS 14 widgets.
What they lean towards. In order of priority of what I would update with the Model 3, I would do power trunk, USB-C, and even then USB-C is just I'm finding something. Just for even the ports in the back for the back seat.
Use those
but I'm just nitpicking at this point.
When was the last time you used those?
Actually, I used them.
Last night.
Last night.
What for?
Wow.
I use it.
What do you use them for?
To charge my 12 mini because
you don't charge it. Oh, because it doesn't work in the T charger.
I haven't built a thing. Like I keep improvising. I'll use this and put my phone on top of that. I'll use my wallet. Nick has seen. I've always used my wallet and put it on top. I don't like that. And
I would just take out the Nomad in that case. Just put a lightning plug there instead. If I were you, but you're not me, so you can do what you want.
Thing is, it crossed my mind, and the only reason I haven't done it is because it's like I spent like $130 on this, and I feel like I am still wanting.
But it's not doing anything.
Well, not for me, but anybody else who's obviously doesn't have a weird fixation with smaller phones, it helps them, and I don't mind. Like, hey, put your phones up here, and I'll just charge mine in the back, and so I use that, and there's that. Screw them.
Yeah, I wouldn't care. You're the one who's always in the car. They're not always in the car. I
like the idea, and plus having the lightning in the back with the USB-A. The only reason why I would like to have USB-C, and I'm again nitpicking here, I would like to plug in my iPad on the go and just there you go and juice it, give it some power while I'm in transit.
Type-C is better. I look, not because I'm interested, but I look out of curiosity on the used inventory of the Model 3 page, and I know deep down, if I ever was in the market, I would intentionally not get a used Model 3 if it still had USB-A, just because that would bother me so much. So I'm waiting for the 2020 variant of the Model 3 to get cheaper, because then it'll have Type-C in the back. So I'll be like, clean. But the prices have actually been going down. You know, we talked about in the past how the used inventories they always had FSD. They've stopped doing that for some of them. Some of the Model 3s I saw going for like 33,000 or sub 35, which I haven't seen before, but they didn't have FSD obviously, but they still had like fairly low amounts of miles and stuff. I don't see any right now. Everything's got full self-driving again, but I was noticing it the past couple of weeks. I think they were just trying to clear out inventory because they were finally taking FSD off a few of them. So I'm like, my theory is correct. They want to increase the value by just software activating all the... There's a lot available right now, actually. I'm scrolling through. Holy crap. And a lot of the silver ones. I miss the silver color.
I do too.
Oh, well. They should bring that back. But it's funny that now that they made the Tesla Semi silver, but even though they don't do silver anymore, but now we see a new Semi and it's pearl white. They're like, no, we can't do silver on the Semi. Everything has to be a pearl white Semi truck. Their logic.
That's very sad.
Yeah,
I miss silver. I miss silver so much that the Cybertruck is my favorite.
Yeah, they've done Chrome delete on all the vehicles, so they're going to do Chrome delete on the Cybertruck and just make the whole thing black.
He said there's going to be a matte black, right?
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
But he says a lot of things.
I think along...
Elon is the least reliable leaker at Tesla.
At first, someone was like, can you do a matte black version? And he just replied, yes. And then a few weeks later, someone was like, ooh, can you also do this version? And he said, you can wrap it in anything you want. And I was like, oh, is that what you meant?
So you mean you're not going to...
He just said, can we do a matte black? And he was saying, yeah, you can wrap it in black. Sure, go ahead. I doubt at checkout.
You can have any color car you want as long as it's black.
In this case, steel.
And in this case, steel.
Steel color.
Steel. Yo, why is Elon a genius?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I really appreciate this man. I just think about all he's contributed. I'm like, man, he's so cool. A
lot in the world has been benefited directly from his actions. It's kind of trippy to imagine.
Like he literally
person being
affects
that influential.
In a very genuine sense. He affects cryptocurrency in the stock market. Like he has that. He's that powerful. He has to watch what he says. And outside, he doesn't care about it. Like it's all a joke to him. He only cares about space exploration, mankind, and the survival of the human race. And it's everything else is just a joke. And he just scoffs at the memes and stuff because he doesn't take any of it serious, except his work with SpaceX and stuff. I know he loves Tesla for what it is, but we all know his love and passion is space. And it's just he's such an influential. He's gonna go down as one of the most iconic people. His name will be remembered forever. The same way we know George Washington.
Oh, for sure.
And he's
or Edison.
Or Edison. Yeah. He's gonna be remembered forever. And he's just we're only within the last decade. He's just warming up. You know, he's not gonna. He might be known for hey, I helped create PayPal and what. But that's the fact that like all the real stuff is just starting up. God, he's such a. We don't deserve him. He's just trying to go back home to Mars.
Out of this world.
He's out of this world. It's crazy.
He is out of this world.
Should they do a Plaid Plus Model X?
Oh.
You know, I didn't realize last time we recorded that there wasn't a Plaid Plus Model X. And when I went on their website a little bit later, I was like, "Aw, bummer."
For the sake of options, sure. As an SUV,
it's just kind of weird that it's not there. And it's also weird to me that the Plaid, not Plaid Plus, but the regular Plaid Model S and Model X cost the same. Doesn't that seem weird to you?
Yes.
It's like no price difference. It's just a matter of speed versus practicality.
Yeah, that's weird.
So
I like it. It's like I don't know. Well, I guess I would say iPhone 12 and iPhone 12 mini, but there's a price difference there. But I was thinking more like on the just get whichever one fits you better.
You're paying for the battery, right? So like, or the mechanics, like it does. Like, here's what you're paying for. You're paying for the guts, and whatever you want the outside to look like is up to you. Whether you want this one or that one, what you're really paying for, what your money's going towards, is the battery and the performance of moving it. And in that sense, I do like it, but it is weird because it goes against what you're like. But wait, the Model X is bigger. It holds more.
Like, imagine if the Performance 3 and Y were the same price.
Yeah, that's like weird. That's weird.
It's like
it's weird.
Wait, what?
But if that goes to the like what we're selling you is the battery, and what you want on the battery is up to you, type of a thing. The real money comes from the battery and the do you want dual motor, single motor, long range? Like that's what we're selling you, and the body of it is up to you, which is cool. It's so Tesla. Such a Tesla thing to do. But yeah, it's kind of weird.
I wonder if do you think Plaid and Plaid Plus can coexist? I honestly feel like they're kind of redundant. Right now. I mean, to me, it feels like we want to get the regular Plaid Model S out soon to compete with Lucid. So here it is. But then Plaid Plus is going to beat all those specs anyway and only be 20,000 more. 120 versus 140 in the grand scheme of the car market feels pretty close. So do you think those two should be separate? I mean, eventually Tesla's going to do 4680s on everything, right? Yeah. So once they bring 4680s to the regular Plaid, what's the...
Honestly, I kind of feel like I wouldn't be surprised if this goes against what you said for a while. I wouldn't be surprised if they adopt a more Apple-centric approach of like just one vehicle. Here's the thing, and it's going to cost one, and it's still because I think there is overlap on everything, which is fine now because it's still early adopter phase with everything. But once it gets to a more mature sense of adoption, here's what we have. This is the best thing that we have. This is what we sell, and it's also not going to cost you $120. Just the battery cells are that much better because we're selling you the battery, and what you want on it is up to you. But here's what we have in the one best. And maybe if they were to simplify the lineup just for rolling out production, single motor, dual motor type of a thing, if that's still going to be around. But I think there's a big overlap in redundancy in Plaid and Plaid Plus. That's not for us, right? Like, there's Marquez's car if he doesn't get his roadster. Like, it's for those people. It's not for us. We are more fixated on Cybertruck. We're fixated on these new battery cells. We're fixated on the
five-figure vehicles.
We're fixated on things that are more realistic and what's really going to help, not a sports luxury niche thing that goes from less than 2 seconds and there you go, and then that's your bragging right.
It's like flexing versus game changing. Those are the two types of EVs.
Yeah.
That's
Lucid is flexing.
Yeah. Yes.
And
that's perfect.
Cybertruck is game changing.
We're more fixated on the game changing.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Nick? What do you think? Are they too redundant?
I think right now they make a lot of sense to coexist, but as we roll into more 4680 cells,
it's gonna go on a shirt.
Get the t-shirt.
You turned your memory into a merch plug. Genius.
It's the best way to forget about things. Make money on it. If only that happened more times in my life. Man, I lost my keys again.
Make a shirt.
$40.
Oh, well. Pay me money.
You didn't buy AirTag.
Well, the funny thing is we make so little money on those shirts. It's not even worth figuring out how much they are making. Small. Yeah. So go pay Teespring. Yeah, I think they'll coexist right now fine because the 4680 cells aren't fully ramped. But just like we saw, the Model 3 gets minor updates over the years as battery tech and drivetrain tech improves, and the standard range Model 3 is inking up to what the anyway, like they're just, the specs are getting cheaper. So for the same price, you can get better specs. And that's how technology goes, all that fun stuff. And I think right now it makes sense to have both. But yeah, once we have fully ramped 4680 production and the long range Model S gets the 4680s, for example, I think that when the long range Model S and X get the 4680 cells, that will be when they get rid of the Plaid Plus and Plaid distinguisher, and they'll just retire the regular Plaid brand, and it'll just be long range or performance, your choice, or Plaid.
I agree. I think that would make more sense. This is like a temporary solution. So
it's a Mac Mini solution, Randy.
I think Model X is probably how the S is going to end up.
I need to be able to work on the move.
We're going back to the Mac Mini anyway.
I love you, brother.
I, more so than the want of a Plaid Plus Model X, I would rather have a single motor S. I wish that was a thing again.
Whoa, you just infinite range. It's like,
imagine
it has zero acceleration.
If you're getting 520 miles with 3 motors, imagine what you could get with 1 motor, right? Like,
do you think it would be past 600?
Possibly. I don't know for sure because we don't actually know Plaid Plus range yet. We just know it's over 520. So it could end up being like 540, 550. And that's with a tri-motor system. So there's a lot of extra weight added in there. Maybe because I read something about the Taycan. Someone was telling me that we're too hard on the range because it's optimized for higher speed. And the EPA is all designed for sub 65 miles an hour. And when you go at higher speeds, the range is a lot better than what the EPA says. And it has something to do with the motors uncoupling at high speeds and going all in on front wheel. So there's a chance that the reason they don't do single motor S is because it wouldn't actually help very much, or the range would be barely different. But at least with the Model 3, it felt like when you took out the front motor, the range was way better. So if that ends up, if that's not the case, don't do it. But if it was the case with the S, and you just had to put up with really crappy performance, I would be that guy.
I'll be right back.
I would be... Okay. Bye, Randy. I would be the guy to be like, I'll buy is a 0 to 60 time like 6 seconds or 7 seconds? Fine. I'll go slow. I won't be the fast guy. As long as I can go like, 600 miles on a charge.
So... You're the turtle, not the hare.
I'm a turtle. Well, I'm the luxury turtle. Because the more I was thinking about this,
I'm just imagining a turtle with like gemstones on his shell,
all the bling on the turtle shell. I am like, I love the Model S interior. Like, I love so much about it. And ever since they refreshed it, I've driven my car differently. I don't touch the top part of the steering wheel anymore. And I'm just trying to train myself for a yoke, just for fun, because I'm like, why not? And it's actually really easy. People were like, oh, this is going to be too tough. You can't grab up there anymore. It's all personal preference, I guess. But for me, it was like an instant switch to be like, okay, just don't grab the wheel there. Just only grab from the sides and the bottom. And even in backing up, even going in reverse and going through traffic and navigating through parking spaces, I thought it was a piece of cake. And I was like, I don't really get what the big deal is or what the big amount of upset is. And there's a part of me that's like really, really... Because to me, Model S is like dream sedan. It's like all this practicality. You've got a hatchback design. You've got great performance. You've got this great new interior with the new display. And you got a screen in the back. So... that's that my renowned love for the S came from this refresh, but at the same time it's like $80,000. It costs so much, and that has me thinking, well, when are we ever gonna, like, I don't know, they might decrease the price in time, but overall the price is probably never gonna get sub 70 again, like the 69 420 thing. That might be a one time thing. So part of me is like, I want this amazing interior, this amazing practical car to just have a cheaper variant for people who don't care about performance but do care about range. Even now, I wonder how much the range would be, because it's currently, even with the old batteries, it's like 412. So if you took out that motor, like
totally
insanely good range and more affordable. Like, I don't know. I miss long range rear wheel drive, and it feels like Tesla doesn't want to do those. So, oh well.
I think they'll come around to it at some point. But right now, it's more profitable for them to sell a more expensive vehicle that has slightly better specs and uses. Well, I don't know. There's a.
I'm sure it's a profitability.
It's not like. It's a profitability thing, but also like a supply too. Like they're still battery constrained.
Correct.
And so they'd rather stick an extra motor because they have plenty of motors, as far as I can tell. Like they're not.
No.
The limiting factor is not the supply of motors.
They can make as many motors.
So
as
they'd
they
rather.
need.
Yeah, they'd rather make more dual motor vehicles with the same size battery pack with faster acceleration, faster specs, better marketability, and sell that for a higher price than they would want to sell. Make. They're battery constrained, so
it's probably the case that if they did rear-wheel drive long-range variants, more people would go for them. Because I've seen a lot of people talk about how, like, all-wheel drive is helpful, but there's a lot of non-all-wheel drive vehicles, even in snowy, cold climates, and as long as they got snow tires, they can make do. It's not extremely necessary, as much as some might say. It helps with performance, but like Randy said, majority of the time, you're not really gunning it like that. You're kind of just on chill mode, taking your time, and rear-wheel drive is still plenty fast. So I was sad to see the Model Y long-range rear-wheel drive get canned, at least. People were getting contacted to switch their orders, which some people were instantly deducting. That means it's canceled. I don't think that means it's officially canceled, but I also don't believe they're going to make it. So that's why I'm kind of like, it's not official, but it's probably safe to assume
it's probably official.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be
if they're actively reaching out and asking people to switch their order, they do not want you to order this.
Yeah, it's probably salespeople. It could be salespeople just trying to push numbers and just be like, "Hey, you have a reservation, but we don't think we're going to make that anytime soon. So why don't you get a standard range or a long range?" And but they will honor the original FSD price, which is cool. So
in my
I'm glad they did that.
Thoughts, I think I would choose rear wheel drive for range and longevity more than anything. But being someone who has now, for the first time as a vehicle owner, use dual motor, I don't think I can go back because I remember being in and this is hyper specific. I was in a situation where my Volkswagen got stuck and rear wheel drive was making it worse. I was sinking and I was freaking out. And I was like, in that moment, in like 2014, 2015, I was like, I can never be in this situation again because I was having like high anxiety about it. And the power part I appreciate, but practicality, long range, rear wheel drive would benefit everybody in a mindset of like, I'm trying to break away from gas to EV, and the range helps that much more, sells the narrative that gas vehicles are obsolete in every sense of it. And that to me would be more important than giving you power through snow, because there's all these workarounds through snow. So I would like to see rear wheel single motor come back, and I know it probably won't, but I've said it too, I would have taken that over the dual motor long range. What I cared about was range, and I feel like a lot of people care about range. But credit where credit is due, dual motor is amazing, and it's hard for me to break away from that, coming from a place like, oh well, that's because that's what I have. Next vehicle, with Brittany wanting to get the tri-motor, I'm not going to be against it. Likewise,
well, they kind of associated motors with range so much now.
Yeah, but if you had a single motor rear wheel drive Cybertruck that goes further than the dual motor, I would take that over the dual motor.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
On a truck.
Yes.
You don't need all-wheel drive on a truck.
On a truck.
Yes.
I feel like that's where all-wheel drive might make more sense, but
I think that you don't want to all-wheel drive on your little city car, but you could definitely want to use that on a truck.
I'm still with you, though. I would still get rear-wheel drive Cybertruck.
I prefaced it by saying that it's hard for me to break away from dual motor, but range above anything else. And if a single motor gives me longer range on a truck, I'm going to take the range over the power, because I would be using the truck to lug things, not to push things or pull things. It's the bed is the most important part about moving things back and forth. So however further I can go on it, I would rather do that, even because the heavier the truck is, the slower it becomes and stuff. So it kind of offsets it anyway. I would take range over anything is more or less my point.
Because range applies to all situations, whereas all-wheel drive applies to some, but not like everyday situations. So Mike's running theory that we talked about on one of the, I think the last EV podcast of last year, we talked about Tesla. Basically, they're not going to do the base model Cybertruck, the 39,000, but they will do a Wolverine edition, smaller version of the truck for a cheaper price, and that one might have a single motor variant, which his theory makes the most sense to me, because they want to do a smaller truck because they know how huge the Cybertruck is, and making a smaller variant would allow them to retain pretty good performance even with a single motor, which is probably something Tesla doesn't love about the theory of the base cheapest Cybertruck, is that it's 0 to 60 is like 6.5 seconds, which is by no means slow, but for Tesla it's kind of slow. That would be the slowest Tesla they make, basically, if it does make it to market. Which I guess they say it's faster than that on the website, but still, I could just see, because the price is so too good to be true, I could see them being like, we want to hit that price, but we might actually have to make a smaller overall truck with less materials and a bit more. Maybe it's not a 6-seater, and maybe the bed shrinks a little bit, and then they can get sub 40,000 or around 40,000. But I'm sure the range will be much better than the website says. It'll be closer to 300, and maybe the Wolverine edition will only go up to dual. It won't have a tri-motor system, but that's what I would like. If they did something smaller with still decent range, but it was under 40K, that's dream Tesla territory right there. That's incredible. So hopefully they do a smaller one, but it's probably not going to be a huge priority in the U.S. market where trucks are huge. So
I wonder if you'd have to buy that, and you'd have to import it from Germany, and it'd be like the other side wheel and
the yoke on the other side.
Yoke, yeah.
They're like, how illegal can we make a car? That's kind of what Tesla asks when they
I will make it legal.
They're just like, okay, pedestrian safety laws, side view mirrors, windshield wipers, steering wheel requirements,
the size of the road.
Let's just break every law with one car.
No, I'm not going to break it. We're going to come all the way up to the edge. Like, there's the law right here. We're going to come all the way up to the line. We're not going to cross it, but we'll be right there.
They're going to autopilot.
And that's honestly what Tesla needs to do, right? Like, Tesla's always pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
True.
And so one of the things that is their limiting factor is the legality of it.
Yeah.
I don't see why there's a real physical need for physical mirrors when we have great cameras that can do just about what. Every time that I've looked in my mirror and thought, oh wow, a camera couldn't do that, there have been 10 times where I've looked in my mirror and been like, a camera could do that so much better.
True. Yeah.
Whether it's night vision type stuff or like just the sun reflecting in my eye when I'm driving the wrong direction, just like blinding me because of a mirror. Like,
that's happened to me a lot.
I'm not able to see out of it today, and I'm being blinded so I can't see in front of me, and
it's
or
the worst
driving
thing.
at night with like headlights in the back.
Yeah. When you're driving away from the sun and it's in every mirror.
Yes.
That's the most annoying thing to me. So, I mean, the screen can only get so bright. So, if it can't get that bright,
and people who are like, oh, but what if the sun's in the cameras and you can't see it? And I'm like, well, I wasn't looking out of my rearview mirror when the sun was in it anyway.
Yeah, probably couldn't see it regardless. Plus, Yeah, there's a lot of more cars designed these days that you wouldn't be able to look out the back anyway. That's what Cybertruck, with the vault and everything. If you were like, oh, nothing, cool. So wouldn't really work. And I think Aptera is doing the same thing with all their side view mirrors. Did you guys see that?
Well, and their rear view mirror is just always perpetually going to have a picture of a Tesla supercharging station.
Yeah, I was just going to ask if you saw that little Easter egg. Do you think that was an accident, or do you think that's intentional?
No. Oh, no, that was so intentional. That has to be intentional. The CGI artist had to be like, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because they could have put in anything there, right? They could have put literally in mountain.
A green. They could have put the Windows XP mountain with the blue sky, like Serenity, and they could have put that.
But they specifically chose the Tesla Supercharger to put in that rear view image. So that makes me think like, either they're really getting my hopes up for no reason, or they're working on getting that made possible in behind the scenes, and maybe the paperwork hasn't been finalized, and maybe Tesla wants to announce it at a certain point. They're going to be like, here's a list of everyone who's going to start using Tesla superchargers. But I love Aptera. They're so cool. I can't wait to see one. I've fallen in love with that design and everything. It's become like, I don't know. I think the idea of a solar vehicle has really, really captivated me, because that's the only way to like leapfrog the cost of ownership of an EV being lower. Is like, okay, you got to pay for electricity, but now it's like, what if you didn't even have that? What if you just went outside and the car was ready and that was it? It just needed sunlight to charge off of. So, man,
and like,
and
it's super
so
futuristic.
Hard to do.
Like if you asked someone even today to draw what the car of the future would look like, if they weren't going to draw a Cybertruck, it would look something like this.
Very bubbly, very rounded.
Even though it has the Cybertruck headlights. So, I mean, I'm in love with it.
Yeah.
If I couldn't, I'll say this on a record. If I couldn't get a Cybertruck and I couldn't get a Tesla, Aptera.
I'll go on the record to say, if Aptera hits the numbers and prices and they can actually make their product, and I'm very happy Sandy Monroe is working with them and interviewed them and is excited for the product. If they can achieve those numbers, I would be more inclined to get an Aptera than a Tesla at this point.
Really?
That's how much they've convinced me, just because a lot of the things I like about Tesla are like the increase with the increased price of full self-driving. It's slowly turning into more of a dream feature than it is a one day I'll get there feature. Like, even if I had bought a Tesla last year and I was driving it around now, I don't think it's overpriced. I just think it's almost like I don't know. For the same reason I wouldn't buy a Model S or X. It's like, it's amazing.
Yeah,
and I love it.
You're thankful you didn't keep the 16-inch Intel MacBook Pro.
Yeah, I am, but
it's like, it would have been a really great buy at the time. It would have, been better than but it wouldn't have. It hasn't finished developing.
Yeah, and I don't know, the issue I have with full self-driving is like, I admire it, and I don't think it's overpriced. I think it's expensive, but I don't think there's a way to get that cheaper. And it's like state-of-the-art software and everything, but it's only going to get better, but it's also only going to get more expensive. And ultimately, you have to ask yourself, like, would you pay $15,000 to have someone full-time to drive you around for you? And some might say yes. I think I'm kind of approaching the territory of saying no. I feel like even if I had a bunch of money to blow on that kind of thing, I would probably rather invest that in Tesla stock, or invest it in any stock. Or if I had that kind of spare cash, I'm like, the need of the car, just because of my lifestyle, the need of the car to drive itself is not worth that high a price to me. And I'm not interested in a robotaxi business. I don't want that kind of passive income. So in the future, if we're just talking about owning an electric car, I would love it to be the most efficient possible, with solar on top that can take it 30, 40 miles a day, for my type of lifestyle, that would fit better than a Tesla with full self-driving equipped, because I know how much that's going to end up costing. So,
and 1,000 miles of range.
1,000 miles. I wouldn't get that variant. I'm kind of split between 250 and 400.
Okay.
I'm kind of expecting their range numbers to be too good to be true. I think that's a realistic expectation going into it. So
didn't Aptera say that their entire vehicle is more aerodynamic than the rearview mirror on a F-150?
Side view, but yeah.
Side view mirror. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, side view mirror.
The one mirror of a F-150 creates more drag than the entire Aptera. I don't even know how that's possible, but... yeah, I love what their company is striving for with efficiency, which is kind of like the theme I'm trying to apply to my life with work and time and money and just being efficient with everything. So, and they're planning on having like a safety pilot thing for like level 2 autonomous. So like lane keep and adaptive cruise control, which is kind of all I really care about anyway.
That's what anybody really cares about with full self-driving. Full self-driving beta is so buggy and annoying that I just want to keep me in lane, and if I need to make contact to show that I'm still awake then that's fine, but just keep me in lane and stay the course, and that's good enough. Keep adjust the speed as is. Full self-driving today I would never paid for. I would never
You wouldn't pay 10,000 for it even if it was true level 5?
No.
Wow. Even at level, even like you can watch Netflix in the car.
I'm biased. I would pay 6,000 for it because that's what I valued. The value. When they said it was going the price was going to increase. Yeah, like it's going up, and I was like, all right, then that's the deciding factor for me to buy right now instead of wait. I assessed the value at $6,000 in its perfect world, and that's me getting the best value out of it. That's me getting ahead of the curve, and that's me considering whatever I want to do with the Model 3 down the road. If there was a robo-taxi and stuff like that, I don't see
the genius thing about FSD is you're securing your car's value with that purchase.
$6,000 is where I was like, that's where I draw the line. And Brittany draws the line at $7,000 for the Cybertruck. And I was like, okay, then that's where she assesses the value. Anything above that, if I thought it was worth more, I would have considered maybe waiting and trying to make a profit off it. But I didn't buy the thing to make a profit, to be like, I earned 1,000 or 10,000. It was I see the capabilities of what you're promising me valued at 6,000. And that's what, and I'm being biased on that. So, and a penny over 6,000, I'm not interested in. So the fact that it keeps increasing, I'm like, sucks to suck. So, and I'm saying it from a point of like, this is where I locked in, and that was the deal I had to make. I have to compromise on USB-A and smaller range and no power trunk, but I get $6,000 full self-driving if it ever comes out, type of a thing. Yeah. That's where I said that's the risk I take about being an early adopter, and those are the risks I'm willing to take. A penny over that, I don't know. Any other competition that comes in to compete with Tesla and offers something of a different value to it, I'm all for it. You're only going to make the whole industry as a whole better for it. Like
I do look forward to that. Yeah.
Make the decisions harder for people. Don't make it so easy, because then complacency happens.
And Tesla can change that price
anytime
at a drop of a hat. Yeah. they can adjust that in minutes if they have to. So if someone comes out with something similar for cheaper, they can lucid air on them and just nope.
420.
Yeah. Do you think it's overpriced, Randy?
10?
Yeah.
Just going off of the information that we have now, I do, because nothing's promised. You're buying a promise, and so 10,000 for what it does now, I think it's way overpriced.
What about not just including the features it has now? I mean, like what it grants you access to long term. Like, do you think it has the potential of being like? Because the reason I don't say it's overpriced is because I feel like there's nothing else on the market making promises like that and offering features that could be, weeks away. With the beta we're seeing now with city streets and turning and doing almost everything autonomously. No one else is making that
jaded
claim.
by promises that talk is cheap. I'll believe it when I see it. So I can only go off of what we have accessible now, and I think 10 grand right now is overpriced. And I don't like the strong arming. It's like, well, we're about to release this new feature, and then the price is going to go up. It's like, no, screw you, man. Just show me what you have, and sell me on 10 grand. I don't have to buy your promise. Sell me on it, and that's where I become frustrated as a fan, not as just as a fan. It's like, that sucks, because now you're being put into a position where you're gambling. You're making a bet on a promise and you don't even know. You're gambling on something you have no control over, and I don't like that.
True.
I like, here's what it is. Here's the release, the public release of this beta or this whatever. In 1 week's time or in 1 month's time, the price will increase. So get it now within the next 30 days. You have to have your reservation in within the next 14 to 30 days. And you'll be locked in at this price off of what is accessible to everybody now, or it's going to go up. That would be more fair. I think that's a better business tactic that I would have done. Fair is subjective in the sense of how you want to operate the business. I think it's overpriced off of what we are definitely having right now, but right around the corner. I hate that. I hate hearing what we're seeing coming around. It's so flick of a dime that none of us have any control over. That if they give you everything that they say, then no, it's not overpriced. Obviously, it's not overpriced. I think it's a beautiful advancement in technology, but that. So
if it was true level 5, you would say it's 10,000's worth it.
I'd say level 4, level 3. Give me what you're showcasing right now on your most cleaned up, polished marketing video that you're doing, and I would pay 10,000 for that if that was accessible now. Don't say we're working on it's rolling out, because I'm sitting in queue who have not got the updates. I keep getting UI updates, but I'm not getting full self-driving. Like I gave you money for full self-driving, and you're giving me just overall Tesla updates. Cool, awesome. Give me the other thing that you were promising before Christmas, before the end of the year. Now we're in February. We're 2 months in, and I still haven't got it. And it's frustrating. Not in the sense that
it is a lot of money.
Yeah,
it really is. It's like, especially just to think, like, what's the most expensive thing you guys have ever bought that's software?
Logic and all that.
Yeah.
Which is barely breaking a few $100.
Exactly.
Yeah. And this is like $10,000 software update.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a cool one, and it can add a lot of functionality, but I'm in that realm of I personally don't think it's overpriced. I just think that similar to a Model S and X, it's out of my price range. It's like it's out of my lifestyle to justify, especially with how little I drive. That the few times I do, letting the car drive itself to me would not be worth the. I would just drive the car, or put it on autopilot instead and save that money. Because if the argument is like reversed and it's like, I'll pay you $10,000 to drive yourself 5 miles a day, which is what my situation is. 5 miles a day, I'll pay you 10 grand. Done. I'm sold. I'll take the money.
I'll save you $10,000. I'll save you money. I'll save you 10 grand to drive yourself. Okay. That's
for the same
fair.
way. Like we don't eat out a lot.
I still get this. I still get access to the supercharging station. I still get that awesome. I still get that awesome boost when I want to use my dual motors to launch really quickly. I still get the cool little quirks of the UI of or going on the web or what. I get all this stuff still.
And autopilot's like 90% of what people enjoy.
Autopilot is so much more intuitive of what it's trying to do. It's not overthinking anything. It still bugs out when I do full self-drive. It in a consumer aspect, it genuinely still pisses me off because it thinks that it's trying to slow down, speed up, slow down, get over to the next lane because it's reading the thing. And then I go, is it California traffic that's making it do this? And I'm like, you were designed in California. You were built in California. How is this still then a problem? So the whole thing is just bugging. And I keep saying, well, early adopter. And I'm sure there's truth to it. But I pay $6 grand, fine. Then that's $6 grand's worth of headache than what it is. But I feel sorry for anybody who's paying 10 grand and having to experience the same thing I'm experiencing.
Oh yeah, I would be very annoyed.
I'm upset on their behalf.
Yeah. How about you, Nick? Do you think it's overpriced?
I think for some people it's not. Like back when I had a 90-minute one-way commute, I would have paid. I would have paid any amount of money to have the car drive itself, because I'm just sitting there.
Any amount.
Like, okay, obviously I didn't have any amount, but I was just sitting there driving every single morning. Every single morning I was like driving myself crazy, because like there are things I need to be doing. There's productivity things I could be doing right now, but instead I'm sitting here driving with a bunch of wackos who forgot how to drive because it started snowing last week. And y'all,
like if you could
idiots.
finish your college paper or do some accounting work as the car's driving,
take a nap. Like I know it's the most,
or sleep.
It's the most overrated, TikTok-y thing, but like I legitimately have for a long time always wanted self-driving to get to a point where I can roll out of bed, just walk to the car in PJs and just completely bedhead everything, sit in the car, have my 40-minute commute to work, and during that commute ease into my morning, maybe have a coffee maker in the car, maybe have a little mirror, a little sink, do my hair, get ready for the day, get dressed.
A sink.
Just I don't know, just like a total futuristic car, like an SUV with just one seat, and it's basically just your bathroom and closet. You just take your closet around with you.
You're such a thespian. What? You're such a thespian.
I'm gonna look up what that means.
I have no idea what that means.
What
but I think it's offensive. I think it's offensive.
No.
Relating to drama in the theater.
Oh, okay. Well then, yes, of course I am. But anyway, I always wanted that. But for what I'm
metrosexual. Look that up.
I don't want to have that. I don't want that in my search history.
I'm the new Jamie.
Look that up, Drew.
Young, urban, heterosexual male with liberal political views. That's not Nick.
No.
An interest in fashion.
Keep going.
An interest in fashion and a refined sense of taste.
Boom.
I would describe.
Keep going.
It does taste pretty good. Anyway,
Nick has to. What he's saying is, drive me, and then he's powdering himself, washing his face, dressing up.
But like, wouldn't that be so nice?
I'm there too.
Like, you could just like your whole, because my morning routine is about 40 minutes, and if I could just spend those 40 minutes sleeping and then regain that time back in the car. Anyway, I don't have a commute anymore. All that said, I
agree.
What I would use an FSD vehicle for, not even worth $10, because the only time I leave the house is when I want to go on a drive. Or to run errands or whatever. But like it's like I this morning, great example, I went and picked up some pictures that I had physically printed out at a Walgreens, and it was about a 20-minute drive. Cool. And I was excited for it last night. Like last night I was like, oh goody, I get to go on a drive tomorrow. I get to get out of the house, see the outside. Oh, it'll be so much fun.
They let me out of the dungeon this week. I've been a good Nick.
You
wouldn't want to be driven on that type of drive.
No, I wouldn't.
Right?
I physically enjoyed driving. Because for me right now, driving is not a monotonous task.
Poor boy.
I would say I wouldn't. I am seriously considering, if my lifestyle continues like this, where I'm working at home and not driving a ton, then like I'm wondering what the rush is to get a Cybertruck. Like before, a couple months, maybe even a year ago, I would have said, I'm going to get the Cybertruck, whatever the last reservation that I have for that $7,000 one, I'll go into debt for it. I'll make it happen, because that's a good deal, $7,000. Because at the time, that $7,000 was a good deal for FSD. But for me right now, it's not worth it. There's no reason to make an FSD deal be a reason for purchase of a vehicle for me.
What about for you, not right now, but for the future, you might need it?
For the future, Nick, I don't see. I would like the option to, like, this monthly thing sounds pretty enticing. Normally, I'm not into monthly things.
That changes a lot.
Yeah, that monthly thing. Normally, I'm not into the monthly things, right? Like, I want to own everything. I don't want to pay monthly. I hate subscriptions.
No, because I wouldn't like, pay for it monthly. I know. I'd pay for it for one
exactly.
month.
It's like, well, okay, if I'm gonna go out, I don't know, to see Randy in San Diego, and I want to do a big road trip. I would pay the $250, $300 or whatever it is, and just be like, okay,
for 1 month.
I'm basically not going to drive for the entire month, and I'm going to road trip the heck out of this. Like, I'm going to get all of the value I can out of it, and maybe do it once a year, and that would still be cheaper over the lifetime of the vehicle then
way cheaper.
Well, yeah, $300 a year, maybe even 2
even
months.
if it was 500.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Even if it was $500, it'd be way cheaper. Because I'm in the same boat as you. I was like, most of the time I don't have a commute, and there's occasional big road trips, so I will just subscribe to it.
Well, and
I don't want to buy full self-driving for the life of the car. I just want to buy a trip.
Exactly.
I want to buy
that would be nice.
software to drive me for this trip, and then when I get home, you can cancel it.
It could be per mile even. Like, I would be down for that. Like, if it was like
that'd be interesting.
A per mile, like, kind of taxi type thing, where it's like, metering how far you've gone, and you just set it up and you say, okay, I want to turn on full self-driving. Window pops up, says, are you sure you want to do this? You're going to be charged by the mile, and you say, yes, I'm sure, and maybe it's 15 cents a mile or whatever it is, but I don't know if that's high or low when you have a big long road trip, but some amount of money that seems insignificant on the mile basis, and then
I like how you phrase that.
Okay, if I'm gonna do 1,000 mile or 2,000 mile round trip to see Randy. What would that be at 15 cents a mile? That would be $300. Perfect. Wow. That's exactly
almost
how
exactly
much.
what
So yeah,
it would cost.
I would say 15 cents a mile for FSD by mile would be amazing, and you can turn it off whenever you don't need it.
Especially if it's, especially if it's month to month, that changes everything. I think that would make buying it outright especially less attractive for those who don't commute.
Well, with the price increasing the way, and he's like, it's going to keep going up. Absolutely, I would.
I think. They might be aware of this. They're probably having these same conversations and are like, we're going to do it by the year. So you can pay for it monthly, but you're in a year-long commitment or something. So you have to be in a contract. I don't want that to happen. I just feel like it might, knowing the business model. They'll be like, people are just going to buy it for a month and then cancel it. And
really, though, to
use
Tesla,
it occasionally.
It's a flip of a switch, right? Like having an extra vehicle.
Yep.
And honestly, the more data they're collecting is probably a net positive for them. They're getting paid to provide you with a monthly service that is going to provide them data to make their service even better. So
That's true.
Elon, my recommendation to you, make FSD a 15 cent per mile taxi service. You have to sit there, you have to drive it, but 15 cents a mile, I would do that.
It's a taxi in your own car.
Exactly. Well, yeah. $300 for a nice long road trip?
Trippy.
Like that's better than a plane ticket.
Oh,
that's
pay
better
it.
than a plane ticket.
Heck yeah. That's about as much as we'd spend on gas in the first place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about that price. Anyway.
All right.
Closing thoughts, gents?
Randy, your car is amazing. Don't worry. You got the right car at the right time. Good job.
Hang on to it like precious cargo.
It is.
Unless you want a second Cybertruck.
It is precious cargo. Unless you want a second Cybertruck, then get rid of it. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Bye, everyone. Take care.
Bye.